Hey gang, and welcome to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Will Meadows.
And I'm Sara Meadows, and today we're looking at Pioneer Days from Tasty Minstrel Games.
Pioneer Days is a 2 to 4 player action selection dice drafting game for pioneers who are headed west and trying to survive all the craziness of the wilderness.
It's from designers Matthew Dunstan and Chris Marling, and it's illustrated by Sergi Marcet, and it plays in about 45 to 75 minutes. Let's take a look at it now.
To set up the game, the boards are placed in the center of the table, the general store is filled with equipment tiles, and tokens are placed on the disaster track.
9 town cards are chosen and 2 are revealed on the board.
Townsfolk cards are dealt to each slot under the board.
Each player is given a player board and starting resources.
And then 1 full set of dice per player plus 1 extra set are added to the bag, and then you're ready to begin your first week as a pioneer.
The first player takes the dice bag and pulls the appropriate number of dice from the bag and rolls them.
Then players each choose 1 die to use as their action. They may be used to gain silver, recruit townsfolk from the corresponding spaces,
or they may choose to take the action on the die.
Players are only allowed as many items as their wagon will hold, but more wagons may be purchased at any time.
At the end of each day, 1 die will always remain, and the corresponding marker on the disaster track will be moved. If the black die is left, all 4 will move.
And once the marker reaches the end of the disaster track, it strikes, and players must face the consequences.
Play continues until the dice bag is empty, the week ends, and players have the opportunity to gain favors from the town.
The board is then reset for the next week, and a new town is laid out. Players will visit 4 towns, and at the end of the month, the player with the most victory points wins. So Pioneer Days is no Oregon Trail, but it is a really enjoyable dice rolling action selection game that has you helping local townsfolk for favors in order to get big victory points and win the game.
I thoroughly enjoyed the decision that you have on your turn of choosing just 1 of the dice. Even though you're just getting 1 of them and 1 action, there's a lot of thinking involved as to which one you take, and then once you take one, which action are you going to take from the 3 choices that you have? Just gaining silver to pay for more wagons and be able to pay for the raids that happen on the disaster track, or getting a townsfolk. There's a myriad of different, there's decks that you can choose from for the townsfolk, so even which one you play with will have a focus, and then even just the action that you take to get a resource.
Yeah, and the reason that that's so important, the dice color is what determines what goes up on that consequence track, the disaster track, and the consequences that you have to pay as a result of it. And that disaster track can be like epically destructive to whatever you've built and put together. So you really do want to make sure, like, oh, I don't want to leave that black one, they're all going up. I want to leave the blue so that the storms come and wreck her wagons because I only got 1 and I got wood. Like, being able to look through all that and figure out what's going to have the least impact on you negatively and the most impact negatively on other people is a nice tension that goes on throughout the entire game.
Yeah, and then balancing all of that with trying to gain the victory points from the favors for the townsfolk. There's 2 that come up each time, and you have 4 turns to try and gain whatever it is on those cards, which is enough time to do it unless disaster strikes.
Yeah, it's one of those games where like every turn you're just kind of like the skin of your teeth, you're making a buy and having enough resources to pay for the things that you need. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed the table presence of the game. The components for it are really nice, really thick cardboard. The artwork is pretty fun, and we were kind of snickering over the fact that some of the characters in the game look like they're probably real people instead of cartoon characters. Either that or a different artist or something. A little inconsistency there, but overall we really enjoyed the way it looks and feels and plays on the table.
Yeah, if this sounds like something you're interested in, check it out from TMG or your favorite friendly local game store. And then don't forget to subscribe to all the other videos from Tantrum House. Or you can just take the resource that you need, or gold, and for some of the
Silver.
I had it.
The die color, whatever you pick, whatever's left is going to alter that whatever track.
Disaster track.
Disaster track. Come in. TMG has put out a really enjoyable Pioneer experience type of game. The game is really fun. It's pretty cool. You roll dice. I don't know.
For each one of those, when you take that certain action, which I think is a good strategy, hint, hint, to play the game.
I think I won.